right, this is the Committee on Legislative Affairs and Elections. This is Thursday, March 1st, 2018. We're at 6 p.m.
Talk slow, 'cause
Yeah, I know, I'm waiting for... All right, we have Councilor Capone.
Yeah.
We have Councilor Simonelli.
Yeah.
We have Councilor Marchese. We have Councilor Hanlon. We have 4 members present. We do have a quorum.
4 members present. We have a quorum. Could we please rise, salute the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, to read the first item of business.
All right, the first item of business. This is a resolution by Councilor Peter Napolitano as president, that the Legislative Affairs and Elections Committee review the job description and duties of the legislative aid position and make recommendations for changes if necessary.
To the membership first, I just wanted to say, as we know, this is a crucial position for the council. We've been working on the duties and responsibilities and skill sets. I had merged what we had talked about at the last meeting, and I took information from the legislative code, from what our current administrative assistant had for her duties and knowledge and skill set, and I merged them into one document that each of you, I think, has a copy of it. Did the members receive that? Or are they up there? Oh, we could get each of the members a copy. Yep, that'd be great. Thank you. John, you can fit through there. That's fantastic. So this is what we have thus far as a listing of the description, the duties, and the required abilities and skills. It's not an end-all, be-all, but I think it covers the great majority of what we're looking for. So what I would ask is that the members take a peek at this and see if there's anything they want to change. And, you know, we have a little bit of time. Our next meeting, I believe, is the 12th, the general council meeting. So what I'd like to see us do, if we could, is have a recommendation, a final form, out to the general body for that meeting. So that said, we don't have to, you know, work through this tonight to a final form, but we can absolutely talk about anything that's on here. If the members feel like they need more time reviewed on their own, we could schedule another meeting prior to our 12th, and that way we could get it to a final format so that we could make a recommendation to the general body. And then at that point, our colleagues could take a look, make whatever changes they want. We could get it advertised so we get applications in. I think Caroline is here until the end of May. So in a perfect world, we'd be able to have somebody on board at least for a couple of weeks while she was still around, so she could kind of show them the ropes around the office. But that's what we're up against as far as a time frame. So I don't know what the desire of the membership is. If you want to look through these now, if you want to take more time and look at them on your own and then get together. Okay. Okay, good. The clerk informs me that March 8th is available. We could have another meeting in March 8th. That'll give the membership an opportunity to review this, make any changes or recommendations that they want, and we could get together. If that works for the committee, I think that's probably the best way to go, unless there's something on the list that you want to talk about this evening, or if there's anything you want to talk about with regard. Okay. Okay, that'd be great. So I leave it up to the membership. If you want to go through this tonight, we can. If you want to take it and at your leisure look at it and make a little bit more of a discovery on it, that's fine too. So I leave it up to the body. I just want to let you know that I merged everything that we have thus far, and this is about as condensed a package as I can put it. But I leave it up to... Absolutely. Absolutely. Council. Yeah. Absolutely. I think that does the clerk do that? Because I think that a lot of it overlaps. So I think that we don't hurt ourselves by including obligations. We would if we omitted it. I think oftentimes what happens is there's an overlapping, If the clerk isn't available to do it, then the the legislative aide would do it. I'm sure the clerk of committees at some point kicks in if people are on vacation. So there is an overlap of effort. Okay. She'll send a report out after the fact with the action taken by the council. Sergio, yep. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. I think right now, I think she's doing it now. Yeah. Whatever the action was. So I guess Caroline's doing that right now, whatever the action of the meeting is. So, and the legislative aide would probably do the same thing. But and with these, in case we miss anything, if you look at number 17, it's kind of like a catch-all. And it says, perform other lawful duties assigned by council members, clerk of committees, and clerk of the city council. That way, in case we forgot something, when we put together the job, the contract for the job, it'll be incorporated. Yep. What I'm interested in, with that catch-all, that kind of catches everything, I'm more interested in the required abilities and skills. I want to make sure that I didn't miss anything when we were putting that together. So, yeah, so if any of the members unless there's something you want to look at with the duties, I would be interested to hear your thoughts on the required abilities and skills and make sure we didn't forget anything important. While you guys are looking at that, I'll just ask the clerk, given that we're looking at time, we want this to be as productive as we can, and we want to be able to move on the process as quickly as we can and efficiently, would it be, this is just basically an outline. And members are going to be looking at it, and because we're trying to move the process along, do you think it would be more beneficial that we provide a copy of this to the general membership to tell them what we're thinking? And that way they could weigh in on it before we have our final meeting. So instead of having to debate it after the fact and lose time, we might be able to move quicker. Okay, so maybe we'll make that, we'll get a motion from that on that afterwards. 16. Sure, why don't you come on up? If Chair would like to entertain a motion to have the president before us? Yeah, I make a motion that we still allow it. Do we have a second? We have Councilman McLaughlin as well. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, anyone's lights are red. So, all right, so moving second to have President before us. All in favor? All opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you. The reason I asked to come up was I wanted to give you the actual time frame.
Okay.
Our next regular meeting,
The
we're going
12th.
to have the order to put out, to advertise for the,
Yep.
for replacement. So that's going to start at our very next
Right.
full meeting.
Right.
It'll be a 2-week period.
For advertisement?
For people who apply.
Okay.
And then we're going to be doing the interviewing process shortly after that.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. This is something that we just recently discussed yesterday and may not have had an opportunity to share with you.
Okay.
So that's the hope is to get somebody in for at least 5 weeks before Caroline retires.
Okay.
This allows for the candidate to be able to give a 2-week notice if they need to. So I just want to make sure that everybody's aware that this is going to move a little faster than you
Yeah.
might think.
Okay.
And, having the job description nailed down before the interview process is going to be critical.
Yeah,
You know,
and that's our hope. Our hope is that, we're talking about having another meeting prior to the 12th, so that the individual members will be able to take a look at this, add anything that they may want. I made the suggestion to the clerk that I think we should get this outline to the membership. That way, they might be able to weigh in on it, and we can talk about it in committee at the next meeting. And then when we get to our general meeting of the 12th, we can pretty much have a final version. Everyone can look at it. If there's any tweaks that need to be made, get them made. That way we can get it out and advertise, and we can move as fast as we can.
No, that
I think
sounds-
I think the 5-week shotgun might be aggressive. I'm not so sure we'll get that, but even if we at least got 2 weeks with somebody with the current administrative aide, that would be beneficial. I mean, the more the better, but I don't know if the process is going to move that fast.
No, we're definitely looking at May being an overlapping month.
Okay,
It's the 2-week period that would determine whether or not that includes a week in April or not.
Okay.
So no, we're
Okay.
aware of that, and we're trying to be as flexible on that. I believe the last time we put out for a position, we had asked for 30 days. Well, 30-day window here isn't going to work for us because it's going to be too tight.
okay.
And we want to make sure that the person who's going to be sitting in that position gets as much of a transition with Caroline as she can.
And
or they
when we
can.
get to the point about the posting too, I want to make sure that we have sufficient time that anybody who's interested is going to have an opportunity to know that the job exists. I'd rather, if, from my own personal opinion, if we're going to squeeze the clock on advertisement or overlapping with the administrative aid and the review process, I would rather squeeze the overlap, and I'd rather expand search, review, and consideration. So, but we can get to that when we get there.
Yeah, I mean, if you pass a final draft before the 12th, which it sounds like you'll be able to do on
That's
the 8th.
my intention,
Then
yeah.
we have that portion done.
Okay.
As far as how the
Interview process and all
goes for
that.
after that, we can discuss that
Okay.
in that order when we start that process.
Sounds good.
All right.
Excellent. And we'll make sure that all the members get a copy of this too. As, 11 heads are better than one. So
Absolutely,
We'll
absolutely.
go from there. So is Council Hanlon, so you were talking about a particular piece? Okay.
A lot of times, those council members who got it on council meetings, city meetings, and city events, I like to add in whatever medium each candidate so desires. That could be by mail, by telephone.
Sure. Absolutely. To the members of the committee, is there anything on the abilities and skills that you see that stands out that maybe we missed anything or that you disagree with? Which one's that? Yep.
I don't know how we could possibly expect someone that wouldn't know
Yeah.
about, a person that was in a law office or something that came here wouldn't know about city departments.
Good
So
point.
I think a working knowledge of, however you could say that,
It's actually a good point. It's something that I addressed earlier. If you look at number 10, I think maybe we change the language to go along with that. We say willingness to gain a working understanding, so we could lead in with the same thing. Willingness to gain a working knowledge of city departments.
Yes, that's okay.
In function. And then that way, because you can't expect someone to come in.
Yeah, right,
Understanding it. It's a good point, Counsel. Thank you. Anything else within
coming.
that purview? And again, keep in mind that we'll take this with us and we can work on it on our own and get together again on the 8th and discuss any changes.
Okay, first scan quick, okay.
Okay, good. Any other members have anything to say on the piece? Okay. If not, I would say that the chair would entertain a motion
Yeah.
that we keep this piece in committee. We'll schedule another meeting, and maybe we will issue a copy of this to all the members.
Yeah.
So the chair would entertain a motion to that effect.
I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Do we have a second? Okay. Moving to second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And if any of the, when we set the date, if we have any members, as Council Handy mentioned, he may not be able to make it. I want to make sure that if any of the other members, okay. All right, so we're not going to have a quorum unless we have the president come up to make a quorum. Are you available on the 8th? Okay, very good. So if that date turns out to not be good, we can work another date. But for now, it looks like it's, yeah, we need it. All right, so we're going to rely on our president to make a quorum, so there we go. All right, so the clerk will read the second item of business.
All right, item number 2, article offered by Council Peter Napolitano as president, that the Committee on Legislative Affairs and Election updates the city council rules. Should we,
I would say three is kind of a subset of 2, so if the membership is so inclined, I'd request a motion to waive the rules, suspend the rules, take item 3 collective. Beautiful. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second to take items 2 and 3 collectively. All in favor? All opposed? The ayes have it.
Clerk, read
If the
please.
clerk could please read.
all right, item number 3, this is a resolution by Council Frank Capone, that the Committee on Legislative Affairs reviews the current council rules and legislative code with regard to conduct of city council members and its employees, and to report back with any recommended amendments.
Okay.
That was a lot.
We have our city clerk here, and, okay, the assistant, so the chair will entertain a motion to have our assistant city clerk come before us. Is there a motion on that?
Second.
Moved and second to have assistant city clerk before us. All in favor? All opposed? The ayes have it. Our esteemed Mr. Assistant City Clerk, how are you this evening?
This is a new one now?
It's the old one with the revisions.
Dave, wherever you're comfortable, if you want to grab a chair and put a microphone on. And
Good evening, Mr.
Good
Chairman.
evening. Thank you, Mr. Assistant Clerk, for being here. You've just passed this out, so I'll give you a chance to
Yes,
explain to members what
thank
this
you.
is.
First, let me apologize, because I had put it on 11 font, and this isn't 11 font. What you have before you is the standing city council rules with some amendments that the city clerk and I have gone over and thought would be helpful in tightening up the document a little bit. It's in track changes, so you'll notice lines through the things that we feel should be deleted, and the language that should be added would have lines under it. So as you go through the document, the biggest change you will see here is the original document had all of your licenses and procedures on handling licenses, and both the clerk and I thought that this isn't the place really to have that type of information and language. It would best be served in the ordinance books, and probably take the next step if the committee or the city council so desires in drafting some new language. In fact, we've already started doing that. The clerk and Mr. Flood and I have been meeting over the past couple of weeks to kind of revamp that whole Chapter 12 and all the sections under it with dealing with licenses. But so the biggest change in here you'll see is the elimination of all the licenses and the language that's that was in here. The changes that you would notice first is, and again, there are not a lot, but there's quite a few changes. If you wanted to put this into a working committee, which I know works well and has worked well since I've attended a number of those meetings, if you wanted to do that, would not have a problem at all with it. But for example, in special meeting notifications, well, at the beginning it was 5 or more councilors that can call for a meeting as prescribed by the city charter. Mine is printed red, so I can read it along a lot easier than you guys will be able to, because it didn't print. That's Rule 7.3. We're also suggesting a minor change in Rule 8, the reading of business agendas, where it, deleting the word shall and inserting may in the subsection A of that section. In Rule 11, again, applications of communications from the mayor, we thought it should read more, realistically, it would be ordinance, auditors, and/or communications from the mayor or administrative officers, because I know you guys get some communications from the solicitor or the auditor or chief financial officer. So the paragraph A, we're suggesting, recommending that, again, changing the application word to ordinance is order, not only accepting communications from His Honor the Mayor, but also the CFO, the Mayor's Chief of Staff, the solicitor. They also can submit matters before the City Council. And again, such orders, ordinance, communications shall be given to each City Council member. A lot of it is just semantics, the changes would be suggesting. Again, just to comply with the original, to the amended intent of this rule. In B, we just delete the word application and insert ordinances, order and communications. Again, presentations in Rule 11, just want to make it clear that even for special meetings, that the members of the City Council should receive information no less than 48 hours before that meeting. Under suspension is interesting because when you look at the open meeting law, that agenda has to be set, published, advertised. And under suspension doesn't really, it'll violate most times the open meeting law. So we vamped the language in there to address that. And there is some language in the statute itself that says, hey, if it's an unforeseen emergency, and the president of the city council can declare that as such, it can go under suspension. But short of that, there really should be nothing else under suspension. So that language is something that we thought would address that particular statute. Again, semantics, acceptable responses on the resolutions for maintenance requests. A lot of these departments may contact the councilor himself or herself and say, hey, listen, you know, this pothole you want addressed has been addressed. Rather than require them to put it in writing, we thought any communication back to the councilor would be appropriate. And again, if you want it written, you can certainly put that back in there. And the, what else? Some questions that we had that we wanted to put to you folks to see, get some feedback from you. In Rule 23 on the reconsideration, paragraph E, it says, because enrollment is not considered to be final passage of an ordinance and due to the need to promptly advertise all enrolled ordinances, excuse me, no motion for the reconsideration of an enrolled ordinance shall be ordered after the adjournment of the formal session in which said ordinance was enrolled. And that addresses it if it passes.
Mhm.
Well, if it doesn't pass, you can still reconsider it. So do we want to insert some language there that says, hey, even if it doesn't pass, you still have a right to reconsider it? But again, it's something I think the working group could probably wrestle with. Voting by the president, in the original document, it said the president shall vote on all measures which are put to a vote. And as you, all members, have the right to decide if you want to vote on a matter or not, that same right should be given to the president. So instead of having shall, we strike shall and put in may. In the, that's in Rule 30, Mike, voting by the president, duties and responsibilities.
Yeah,
Rule
letter
30.
D.
That's the new rules, right? That's the new, it's in the new rules.
That's correct.
Yeah,
The ones
for
we're
22,
gonna,
I couldn't find it.
the ones we're recommending,
Yeah.
yes. Just, again, semantics, no vaping.
It's the times.
It's the times, exactly. office supplies, the president, and we thought the city clerk as well, considering the president is, busy guy with a lot of responsibilities for a part-time job. We thought that if there's an instance that he couldn't sign off on supplies, that the city clerk would be able to do that. Excuse me. One of the things that some of the members had asked of the clerk is under Rule 34, Rules of Address, Contempt of Citations, Contempt Citation. We're suggesting that there'll be a paragraph F that would read something like, no member of the city council shall issue official statements on behalf of the city of Everett.
You're like dancing.
That's a nice,
I don't know how to.
It's supposed to be.
So, F basically says, no city council shall issue official statements on behalf of the city of Everett. And the second line to it is, no member of the city council shall issue any official statements on behalf of the city council without approval of the council president. And again, it's something that you guys can kick around in a work session and make a call if you want it, if you don't, if you want to change it, whatever you want. It's just there for really discussion purposes for now. And again, Rule 17, the committee may at any time recommend to the entire city council, where before it wasn't really clear on where or who they should be recommending to. The committee chair on Rule 40, the question would be, as you see the duties of the chairman of the president of the city council, do you want to really define what the chairman of the committee's responsibilities and duties are? Again, something just to throw out there and see if it's something you guys want to do, don't want to do. And I think there's only one other thing. Rules of proceedings, again, the rules of proceedings of the city council will be observed in the committee of the whole. Do you want those same rules of proceedings to be observed by other committees as well? If you do, then maybe we insert some language that basically says that in the rules. And I think that's it.
Very good, thank you very much. Are there any questions of the assistant clerk?
No, Mr. Chairman, I don't have any questions, but if I may.
Any other questions from the other members? If none, excuse customary thanks.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
A rather very large,
Councilor Hammond.
complicated communication,
Absolutely,
you know.
yeah.
And we're going from 47 pages to 34 pages, and most of the stuff is the magician. What happened to the magician? He disappeared. Those are all gone. Those are mostly all licenses. I was asked. That whole
Yeah,
section.
licenses,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Remember, we had the discussion about the awnings. The awnings really shouldn't be there. It should be its own ordinance,
Yeah,
so,
no, that's
all
okay,
that
yeah.
kind of stuff. that, you
But
know.
I'm going to meet with both of these guys, you know, when we have some time, because I've seen some things in here, and I'm really surprised that they left these in, because we had a big debate on it, you know. It says over here, just to let you know, and they know I read every line, right? Number 6, the new number 6 on page 3 says, if such a case about elections, it says, shall be made, second voted upon favorably, to table the order. We can't table orders, we have to postpone them. So we have to take that word out, right? And it's on the next page, too. So those are the kind of things, and I looked at the election of 2 more candidates, and I think we need to do a lot more work on that, because it doesn't allow for if a candidate doesn't get 6 votes. But it does allow for the next 2 people to come back and get voted again. But it doesn't say, what if the top person got 3 votes, the next person got 2 votes, and the next person got 2 votes?
Right.
Well, you have to bring back 3, because,
Sure.
you know, so in the case of a tie, that's, you gotta consider that too. And and some other things, but I want to be
Sure.
able to go over it
Yeah.
with these gentlemen, you know?
Yep.
I
And,
think
and,
it's
and
better
it- yeah,
than,
absolutely, and it's extensive, so
because we'll fight over it, you know?
That's
we do it
okay.
all the time, you know, but I
That's
don't
all
wanna-
right.
I don't want to do it here,
it's
you
all
know?
to get to the greater good. And absolutely, individual members will probably end up lining this up in a work session as well, because there is so much. But the members are free to do their own investigation, discussion on their own, and come to the table with suggestions, changes,
Yeah.
anything of that nature, so. Okay. The city clerk's office is a very friendly office, we're told, and they welcome all and anyone, all right. Any questions from the membership on this? Or comments?
No,
Okay.
It's a lot to go over.
Absolutely. So I guess the proper motion would be on that one is to refer to a work session.
Okay,
And-
yeah.
Okay, all right. If,
And
if,
what's the time limit on this, Mr. Chairman?
on the rules?
On
I
whatever we
think-
had before,
I think
yeah.
the rules are pretty open-ended. There's no rush there. The
Okay.
real issue is we've got to make sure that we get the legislative aid position thing locked down. We want to get that, we want to get the final comment and feedback from the members by the meeting of the 8th. If an individual's not going to be here, want to make sure that we have their input for the 8th. Because at that meeting, the hope is that we're going to be able to refer out a final product to the body for the meeting of the 12th and be able to get that up and running. So if there's nothing else, I think motion
Okay.
to adjourn is in order.
Make a motion that we adjourn until we are called back for a work study.
We have a second?
Work session.
Moving second to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah. All in
Yeah,
favor?
yeah, all done.
Opposed? You have so adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.